Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. Fever, by the way, had just 2 first-half turnovers. They've had 7 here in the third quarter. Clark step back on a deep 2. Oh, gets the shooter's touch. And a 20-year veteran, Diana Taurasi, dialing back.
Caitlyn Clark's return to WNBA action was nothing short of legendary. She didn't just step onto the court, she left an indelible mark with her performance against Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury. Clark racked up 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. But it wasn't just about the stats. Her game-changing presence has redefined the Rookie of the Year race and could very well alter the entire playoff picture. Clark is on a mission to prove she's not just another rookie, she's here to make history. This game was a roller coaster with more twists than anyone could have predicted. The return of the WNBA after the Olympic break was already highly anticipated, but when the matchup was announced, Caitlyn Clark versus Diana Taurasi, the excitement hit a fever pitch. On one side, we had the rookie sensation who had taken college basketball by storm and was now shaking up the WNBA. On the other, we had the living legend, an icon of women's basketball. But this was more than just an individual showdown. The Indiana Fever were in a desperate playoff hunt, while Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury were battling to maintain their position. Every game in this final stretch of the season is crucial, and this one had the potential to reshape the fate of both teams. And let's not forget the added drama, the Rookie of the Year race between Clark and Angel Reese. Every performance is now under the microscope, every statistic analyzed. Clark knew that a standout game against a Taurasi-led team could be the difference maker in this competition. The stage was set, the expectations were sky high, and while no one knew exactly what would happen, everyone was sure we were in for something special. When the game tipped off, the Indiana Fever came out swinging, determined to make a statement. The first quarter was nothing short of a domination, the kind that makes the opposing fans uncomfortable. The Fever opened with a 33-16 lead, a 17-point blowout that left the Mercury reeling. Caitlyn Clark was on fire, finishing the first quarter with 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. But it wasn't just her show. Kelsey Mitchell was the perfect partner in crime. The chemistry between Clark and Mitchell was electric, as if they had been playing together for years. The second quarter was more of the same. The Fever extended their lead to a staggering 28 points, leaving the Mercury shell-shocked. The defense was airtight, the offense was fluid, and it looked like a practice drill for the Fever. Meanwhile, Diana Taurasi and the Mercury were struggling to find answers. By halftime, the score was a commanding 54-37 in favor of the Fever. Coach Christy Sides had seemingly cracked the code, with Clark orchestrating the offense and the defense stifling the Mercury's key players. At that moment, it looked like the Fever were cruising toward an easy victory. But as any basketball fan knows, the game is full of surprises, and the second half would be a testament to that. The Mercury didn't earn their reputation by folding under pressure. The third quarter started, and suddenly the tide began to turn. The Mercury began to chip away at the Fever's lead, and what once seemed like an insurmountable advantage began to dwindle rapidly. Christy Sides found herself facing a tactical nightmare. The defense that had been so solid in the first half now had glaring holes. The smooth offense turned chaotic, with turnovers and forced shots becoming the norm. The Mercury outscored the Fever 28-9 in the third quarter, slashing the lead to just 8 points. The pressure was mounting, and you could see the frustration etched on the Fever players' faces. Kelsey Mitchell was visibly upset, engaged in a heated exchange that underscored the growing tension. Sides tried everything: timeouts, lineup changes, defensive adjustments, but nothing seemed to stem the tide. The momentum had completely shifted, and the Fever were teetering on the brink of a disastrous collapse. This was the moment when Coach Sides' experience would be tested like never before. How would she rally her team? How would she stop the Mercury's surge, led by the relentless Taurasi? Most importantly, how would she deploy her star duo, Clark and Mitchell, to secure the win? The fourth quarter was fast approaching, and it was clear that this game would come down to the wire. Sides knew that her next decisions could not only determine the outcome of the game, but potentially shape the entire season for the Fever. Just when it seemed like the game was slipping our way, Caitlyn Clark and Kelsey Mitchell stepped up to remind everyone why they're considered one of the most formidable duos in the WNBA. In the fourth quarter, they took complete control. Clark, displaying a maturity far beyond her years, masterfully dictated the game's tempo. She balanced her play interplay between dishing out precise assists and hitting clutch shots that sent the crowd into a frenzy. But the real hero of the final quarter was Kelsey Mitchell. She caught fire, sinking 2 critical three-pointers that turned the tide back in the Fever's favor. Clark and Mitchell seemed to have an almost telepathic connection on the court. When the Mercury doubled down on Clark, Mitchell was there, wide open. When they tried to shut down Mitchell, Clark found the gaps to exploit. This performance underscored why the Fever are such a dangerous team. It's not just the Caitlyn Clark show, it's the deadly combination of Clark and Mitchell that makes this team a nightmare for opponents. The final score, 98-89 in favor of the Fever, doesn't fully capture the drama of the game. It doesn't show how close the Mercury came to pulling off a miraculous comeback, but it does show that when the pressure is at its peak, Clark and Mitchell are more than ready to rise to the occasion. This victory was more than just another regular season win. It was a defining moment for the Fever, a statement that they are a team to be reckoned with as the playoffs loom. With this win, the Fever improved to a 12-15 record, climbing to 7th in the overall standings. With only a handful of games left in the regular season, every victory is crucial, and defeating a direct competitor like the Mercury is even more significant. This win also injected a massive dose of confidence into the Fever. Beating a team led by Diana Taurasi, especially after nearly squandering a 28-point lead, shows that the Fever have the resilience needed to succeed in the playoffs. For Caitlyn Clark, this game solidified her status as one of the most impactful players in the league. She's not just putting up impressive numbers, she's carrying her team toward the playoffs in her rookie season, an extraordinary feat. The road ahead is still challenging, and the Fever will need to maintain this level of play to secure their playoff spot. But with Clark and Mitchell leading the charge, and with a victory like this under their belts, the Fever are proving they have the potential to be one of the surprises of the postseason. One thing is for sure, no team will want to face this Fever squad in the playoffs. With their combination of youthful talent and determination, the sky is the limit for this team. Despite the exhilarating win and Caitlyn Clark's standout performance, this game also highlighted some vulnerabilities in the Fever that need to be addressed if they want to make a serious playoff run. First and foremost, the third quarter collapse cannot be ignored. It was as if the team completely shut down for those 12 minutes, turning a dominant 28-point lead into a nail-biting finish. This kind of inconsistency can be fatal in the playoffs. You can't afford to let up, even for a moment, because elite teams, like the Phoenix Mercury, will exploit those lapses. The Fever lost their rhythm, their composure, and nearly the game in that one quarter. It was a stark reminder that maintaining focus for the full 40 minutes is crucial, especially against high-caliber opponents. This game also revealed that the Fever might be overly reliant on Caitlyn Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. While it's a testament to their talent that they can carry the team, the rest of the roster needs to step up. If Clark or Mitchell has an off night or gets shut down by a well-prepared defense, who will fill the void? The supporting cast needs to find ways to contribute more consistently. In this game, the bench combined for only 20 points, a number that will need to improve if the Fever hope to compete deep into the playoffs. Moreover, the defense, which was stellar in the first half, showed some alarming cracks in the second half. Diana Taurasi and the Mercury were able to exploit gaps and go on a massive run, nearly erasing the Fever's lead. This points to a need for better in-game adjustments from Coach Christie's sides and a more resilient defensive effort from the players. The playoffs will feature the best offensive teams in the league, and the Fever's defense must be prepared to handle sustained pressure. In summary, while this win was a massive boost for the Fever and Caitlyn Clark's Rookie of the Year campaign, it also served as a wake-up call. The potential for greatness is there, but the team needs to iron out these weaknesses if they want to make a deep playoff run. The road ahead is challenging, but with the right adjustments and continued growth, the Fever have the talent to make some serious noise in the postseason.